Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Pete.
And I am Eric, and in today's video we're doing something a little different. As you may or may not know, we are in the social events, special events industry. We own a small venue in South Texas.
And we've been asked on different occasions what's next after the engagement. So we went ahead and compiled a quick list of things you may or may not need for your wedding.
So you just got engaged, or you've been engaged, and you're thinking, now what? So the first thing you need is to pick a date.
It depends on a few factors. Obviously what date you guys want, the venue you're going with to see if that date's available, and thirdly, if you're religious, what your church has available for the ceremony, because I know that several clients do mention that there's classes that they have to acquire before they're legally able to get married through the church.
Yep. The next thing, and I think is one of the most important things, is a budget. Although you have a budget, you don't always stick to it, but I think if you have an idea, a general idea of how much you really do want to spend, including everything from the dress to, the tux and everything, I think you get together with your fiance and narrow down a budget and just kind of maybe give yourself some leeway, but try to stay within that budget, because not everything's going to be as prices as you expect, but as long as you try to stay within it, I think you should be good.
Like with us, we set a budget when we got married, and we had an 18-month plan before the wedding date, so it gave us enough time to be able to pay for everything about 2 months before the wedding ended, and that included invitations, the cake, the photography, the venue, our tuxedos, any little extra things along the way as well.
Yeah, and then we did go a little over our budget, but it is okay because we kind of anticipated we might have, including we were going to be including some other extra things that we kind of knew. Okay, we can afford this because what it was within our budget was already set.
Correct. Next thing is the guest list, which is a very big part of your budget, and it really does come down to who you do talk to, closest family, friends. Don't feel pressured from any side of the family. I know from our culture, being Hispanic, our tias, which are our aunts, or our mothers, always want to put the input, like, you didn't invite so and so, you need to invite this person that you haven't spoken to in so many years. That tends to happen a lot. Like when we meet up with our brides at the venue, that's the number one thing. They feel pressured about the guest list because they feel pressured to invite so and so and so and so. You invite whoever you want, and just kind of try with your fiance to split the guest list in half to be fair.
Yeah, because a lot of the times we have seen where 80% of the guests are from the bride side, and then the 20% are from the groom side, or vice versa. I feel like it is a 50-50 in this matter, at least unless one side or the other has less people that they want to invite than the other. But yeah, always your guest list should be people that people that you want at your wedding, not someone that you haven't spoken to like in 5 years or whatever.
The next important thing is going to be the venue. Whether it's going to be indoor, outdoor, locally in your city, if it's going to be a destination wedding, you have to take all this into consideration, because the date you have in mind may not even be available. So you kind of have to be flexible. If you really want that venue, your heart is set on it, you can afford it, has everything you want, awesome. But then they tell you that date's not available, you might need to move it a week after, a week before. It really depends on you. If the date that you have in mind absolutely has to say that date, then unfortunately you might have to go looking for another venue.
For different options. So I feel like if you're set on the date especially, definitely don't settle for just trying to do that one or two venues. My best advice is look at as many venues as you can and see what fits best for you, what your style is, and your budget.
And one last thing from experience, go ahead and look at 1, 10, 15 venues if you have to, and never feel pressured from the person at the venue to sign that contract. Yeah, because it's a sale for all of us across the board, us included. It's like going to a store or anywhere else. They're trying to make a sale. They're going to try to pressure you. But you know what? it's fine if you walk away. Don't listen to the, well, this is the price I'm going to give you now. If you walk away, it's not available. That's fine. If they're not willing to work with you or what have you, then you might find something else that's better. Don't settle for anything whenever this whole process starts, from venue to anything else down the line.
And then we have your wedding style, your wedding theme. If you have a theme, I feel it's very important to be on the same page with your fiance as far as the theme and colors that you might want, because we have had clients say, I want ivories and rose gold and pinks, and then he wants black and silver, and it's like you kind of have to meet in the middle. I always say go with her favorite color and his favorite color and kind of try to combine it, or go through different ideas. There's so many things that you can find on Pinterest that you can have either your combined colors or something where you can kind of settle and say, you know what, this is perfect for the season, this is perfect for what we want, or this is, maybe one of you will say, you know what, I'll budge and we'll go with whatever the bride wants or whatever the groom wants.
Piggybacking off of that, don't worry about if anybody else is going to like it. It's what you guys want. It's your special day. Don't let anybody else's input bother you. If you want hot pink and yellow and all these other bright colors or what have you, then go for it. That's what you guys are going to want. The people you're hiring, if they're doing a good job, they're going to make it work.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of brides and grooms, maybe mostly brides, they try to make everybody happy, like their parents happy. I feel this is your day. This is your big day, special day. You make it how you want. You do what you want, and at the end of the day, nothing's gonna matter but what you and your fiance want or are going to get, because it is your day.
Next thing would be florals. If your venue is not including the florals, if everything is going to be outsourced, if you're going to find a florist in particular, definitely shop around. From experience, in particular, our florist for our wedding started off really great experience, and at the end was the most disappointing thing I think about our wedding. That's literally the first thing that pops into my head whenever I look back of what I would have changed. It would have been that automatically. Her work is very good, very well known, but when what we got at the end was late, we were literally the wedding party was already walking out the hotel when we were getting delivered everything at that point.
And when it was delivered, it was all the flowers were dying, and it wasn't what we ordered. We should have known since the beginning, because
there were some comments
when we met with her, to go through her work and her packages or whatever, she did make a comment about previous events where she compared, well, I'm not going to leave a big event with paying me thousands of dollars for somebody who's paying me $250, and then that kind of stayed with us, and we kind of just threw it in the back burner because we were going to spend quite a bit on her for florals, and we liked her work. We didn't know her personally, but we'd seen her at like wedding expos and all of that good stuff. So her work itself was good when we saw it, but then when we came to ours, first she was really hard to get a hold of to give payment. She was really difficult to get a hold of to talk about the rest of our wedding. So we decided, you know what, we're just going to cancel everything else and just keep the boutonnieres and the bridesmaid bouquets and have her do that. But then the day of the wedding came, and then nothing was there, nothing was ready. Literally what he said, we were just walking towards the venue because our hotel was next to the venue. That's when they were handing us everything, and everything was just dead. My boutonniere was dead. I took it off right after the ceremony because it's falling apart. So make sure, as far as florals, you know who you're working with and that you get good references from them. I made the mistake of not looking at like any reviews on her, and she has pretty bad reviews.
And one side thing also, don't worry about going with a florist if you can't afford it or if that's not something you want. I love natural flowers, but hey, artificial flowers will do just the same trick and a lot cheaper. And you can do DIY with your bridal party, your bridesmaids, with your aunts and moms. Make it like a whole thing a couple days before the wedding party. Y'all can make the boutonnieres for the guys, the bouquets for the girls, whatever other floral things you need for a wedding. It's it's doable.
And then the sad part about the natural flowers is that they're all thrown right after. We've been to events where the trash, like it's towards the end of the event, and the trash is full of all the flowers. People don't take them, so it's a waste of flowers unless you take them. So I say, if you're doing natural flowers, make sure you at least take like the roses or the big stuff home, because they do get rid of them and they do, throw them away. Next on the list is catering. So if your venue doesn't offer catering, make sure you meet with several catering people and see exactly what they offer. Sometimes we know where our venue offers a catering and we give them different options, and you get a food tasting before. So make sure that your catering does offer a food tasting before your event. We heard of a friend's wedding that they gave them they chose something for the food tasting, and then halfway throughout the wedding they ran out of that food, so the catering department or their catering had to serve something different. So it was like some people got one thing and other guests got something else, and it was something completely different than what our friends had ordered. So make sure you know who your catering people are. Make sure you look into the references, look at the reviews, make sure you taste their food before and that it is good. The same thing for the cake. I think the cake is a very important part as far as the structure of it. Make sure you know who your baker is, or you
sample it.
You sample your cakes for sure, and then you choose the best one that fits your event. Now, dress shopping. Dress shopping might be one of the most important things for a bride, even more than the tux, because the tux, you can, whether you're buying it or renting it, it'll be ready within a month or less. Rather than the dress, if they don't have the dress you want at the bridal store, you have to wait until they order it. It usually takes about 6 to 8 months, more or less, for it to arrive, and then you still have to do the fitting and all that. So I think as soon as you start looking at your venues and you've got your budget, start doing the dresses as well. Also, don't settle for the first dress that you see. I would say look at different locations, or if you're settled for a specific bridal shop, make sure you look at different styles. You might go in thinking you want a certain style of dress, and then you get something completely different. But it doesn't hurt to always try different styles to see. Once you see yourself in the mirror, that's when you say, I want it.
Something that also ties in with the dress is your hair and makeup. Whether that's going to be two different people, one person that does both. And don't assume that the makeup artist you want to work with will be available. Don't procrastinate. Contact them immediately. Check their prices. Check for their work on Instagram, Facebook, and meet with them in person. If you can afford to, or if they provide a trial run beforehand, definitely do that. Because the day of, the last thing you want is expecting one thing and it comes out completely different. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't last very long. What have you. The makeup artists that you work with, if they know what they're doing, they should be able to accomplish pretty much any look that you are providing for them. Yes. And if they can't, they should be honest with you from the beginning, because in the end, you're the one who's paying for it, and then you're going to be the one who's going to be unhappy if it doesn't come out the way you want it to.
Yep, it's exactly right. So I think for your test run, you could use it maybe for your engagement session. I think that would be a great time to do a test run. Make sure your makeup artist is a reliable person. Again, look at references, look at reviews, look at everything, and you'll know from there. Speaking of engagement sessions, our last thing on the list is photographer and videographer. Make sure you know the type of photographer that you want, the type of style that you want, if it fits your budget, because there's some photographers that will charge you $1,000 and do a great job, and then there's some that charge you $3,000 and do a great job or a horrible job. It's just kind of go based on your budget. Just because they're charging $3,000 doesn't necessarily mean that their job is going to be better than the person charging $1,000, or vice versa. So just make sure you look at all their stuff, and don't look at their stuff just online. Make sure you meet with them and they have a proof of print of, whether they're big prints or canvases or, acrylics or whatever it is that they do, whatever packages that they have as far as like a printed photo. I think that is your best bet, because you can see something online and it'll be great, and then you have it printed and it doesn't look the same. So always make sure that you look into your photographer or videographer and make sure that their work is what you may be looking for.
And definitely look at the reviews.
Definitely look at them. Okay, so this is it for our main list. I know there's going to be other little things that we're going to get into, so be prepared for those. For our wedding series, we're going to call it our wedding series, even though it can be for everything else.
And this is it for today's video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the little bell to get a notification every time we upload a new video. And we will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.